Welcome to a world of mystery, wonder, and fascinating traditions. In this video, we'll go across the globe to uncover 20 tribes whose customs and rituals will leave you amazed. Be it jaw-dropping ceremonies or unique ways of life that have been passed down through generations, these traditions may seem unusual to outsiders, but are deeply rooted in culture and history. Here now are 20 tribes with the strangest traditions. Number 20. The Tarajan people's death rituals. No matter what culture you are a part of in the world, death is something that pretty much everybody takes seriously and has a manner of dealing with when that time comes. Whether it's ritualistic burials, mummification, cremation, or something in between, everyone has something they do for the dead when it comes time to send them into the next life. However, if you were to go to the Tarajan people of Indonesia, you would find that their rituals for the dead go far beyond just getting ready to bury them. For quite a long time, they don't actually bury their deceased loved ones. Instead, after a person in their family or another close loved one passes away, they dress them up nicely and place them in a burial vessel after they have been mummified. That, in and of itself, is not all that strange. However, after that process is completed, the bodies are kept with the families, literally above ground, next to their homes. Funerals take place months, sometimes even years, after someone passes away. They do this so that every day, they can invite the deceased loved one to their meals. Now, obviously the deceased don't answer back or eat, thankfully, but this implies that they are not forgotten. Eventually the bodies are buried, which is good for numerous reasons, but they don't actually stay buried. Instead, the families occasionally dig up the dead so they can be cleaned. That's right, they go and clean the bodies of their loved ones after they've already buried them. In a way, you could argue that this is just an extension of love, as they not only keep their family members close but also ensure they are well taken care of even after they are gone. On the other hand, this is really kind of weird, and I couldn't imagine doing that with my loved ones. Not just because it would be hard to dig them up after laying them to rest, but it certainly can't be easy on the eyes or the nose. However, this particular tribe doesn't seem to mind, so make of that what you will. Sweet topic. This tribe has to have one of the strangest traditions ever. While most societies glorify and romanticize weight loss and being skinny, this one is different. They literally compete to be the fattest. Based in Ethiopia, they have weight-gaining competitions where the winners don't get a prize, but they become lauded as heroes for the rest of their lives. Imagine that kind of adoration, all because you ate a lot of food. This takes place on a semi-regular basis, and those taking part in the ritual have 6 months to hide away from the prying eyes of others, while excessively gorging on cow's blood and milk, which is brought to them by women. Once half a year is over, whichever man has gained the most weight is declared the winner and is celebrated for the rest of his life. They are idolized, and every child in the tribe wants to become like them. When those months are up, the men emerge from isolation to take part in a ceremony where they flaunt their new physiques. As always, let me know what you think about what you just saw on the screen. Number 19. Spain's La Tomatina Festival. Given the somewhat shocking nature of the last tradition, let's now move on to something a bit more fun and tasty. In Spain they have an annual tradition called La Tomatina Festival, which is literally the world's largest food fight. More specifically, this is where people gleefully fling tomatoes at each other so that, by the end of the event, just about everyone is covered in red tomato juice. It is actually real, and it's one of the nation's most beloved events. According to the festival's alleged origins, there was a parade in Spain when a food fight between friends broke out. Obviously, they threw tomatoes at each other, and that led to a bigger food fight the next year. Eventually, it became so popular that it was recognized as an official event in Spain, drawing not only Spaniards but also tourists from all over the world who wanted to join in on the action. This annual event takes place on the last Wednesday of August, starting at 11 a.m. The tomato battle typically lasts for an hour, though the festivities may continue into the afternoon with street parties, music, and even dancing. You come for the fight, and stay for everything else. To highlight just how dedicated the town is to the food fight, they bring in tons of tomatoes so that everyone involved has plenty to throw. It may not be typical to see a giant town-wide street food fight, but when you really think about it, it sounds like a lot of fun. And honestly, it sounds like something I would love to take part in just because I could. Sometimes, you have to cut loose and enjoy yourself in a wild way, and this is a fun and mostly safe way to do it, unless of course you're allergic to tomatoes, in which case, you should probably not go. Number 18, the Festival of Scrambled Eggs. Now we go from Spain to Bosnia to talk about another food-related event. This time, the Festival of Scrambled Eggs. But don't worry, you don't have to throw eggs at other people. I'm not really sure that would be as fun as tomatoes anyway. This tradition is not only about the food, it's about what the food means. The scrambled eggs that are made follow a decades-old recipe, prepared on what Bosnia recognizes as the first day of spring. These scrambled eggs symbolize welcoming a new season. Those who follow the tradition don't just enjoy the food, they help make it. Specifically, 1,500 eggs are broken to prepare the 40-plus-year-old recipe. Even the host of the festival comes in at the crack of dawn to help prepare the eggs. Despite sub-zero temperatures, thousands of residents gather at the riverbank preparing scrambled eggs and sharing the meal with family and friends. The celebration continues into the night with live music, a barbecue, and traditional bathing in the River Bosna. So, to sum it up, you eat, you hang out with your neighbors, you dance, and then you take a dive into a river. Sounds like fun, but you may be wondering why eggs? To the people of Bosnia, an egg is more than just food. It is a symbol of life and rebirth. By holding this festival on the first day of spring, they welcome in the new life that the season brings and celebrate what their own lives may offer in the future. Number 17, Monkey Buffet Festival. Have you noticed that the focus of these festivals is slowly getting weirder? Thailand hosts the Monkey Buffet Festival, and I'm almost afraid to ask about it. This takes place in a city in central Thailand that has a symbiotic relationship with thousands of monkeys. Yes, thousands. Beginning in 1989, the locals started preparing a special feast for these monkeys. During the 2022 festival, it was noted that 100 tables and 2,000 kilos of food were laid out for the monkeys to feast on. Once the food is set, the monkeys race in and start stuffing their faces. On the one hand, it makes sense. The food is right there, and it's clearly for them. On the other hand, it's a little strange to see thousands of people just watching it all happen. Even more surprising, the monkey attendance has grown from 300 to over 4,000. That's a lot of monkeys causing a lot of chaos. But the festival keeps going strong. Thankfully, the next topic does not involve monkeys or food. Instead, we're heading to Germany to talk about a unique twist on the last day before marriage. It's called Potera Bend. So, what is it exactly? Well, it kind of depends on the couple, their family, and their friends, along with other people in the village who want to participate. They gather in front of the house of the bride and bring items that are easily shattered. Porcelain, plates, tiles, flower pots, and all kinds of things that can break. Some have even been known to bring toilets. The goal is to break them into shards in front of the home so that the couple will end up having good luck. Now, before you go scratching your head at the logic of it all, there is actually an old German saying that reads, "Shards bring luck," and a lot of German people, as well as those in some neighboring countries, endorse this kind of action. But don't worry, they do clean it up after themselves, and the city will sometimes even bring in a dumpster to help with the cleanup. In the end, it's just one way of showing affection for a brand new couple, while wishing them the best of luck before they go forward in marriage. Number 15, neck rings. Depending on how well versed you are in Asian or African culture, you may have come across pictures of women and sometimes men wearing massive neck rings. At times, it looks like they have the neck of a giraffe instead of a human. The neck ring tradition is easily one of the more eye-opening ones on this list, and it's one that has garnered attention because of how strange it may look to some people. But what exactly is going on here? What are these people doing with their necks? Well, for certain cultures, a longer neck is a symbol of beauty. To achieve this, they put weighted neck rings around their necks and over time, add more and more to heighten that beauty. However, despite how it may appear, their necks do not actually get any longer. Instead, the body below the neck contorts to create that illusion. Simply put, the bones of the clavicle and ribcage deform because of the neck rings, causing them to slope and making the neck appear longer. Obviously, it's something that I would not recommend to anyone, but for these cultures, it is their way of life, especially for the women, and it should be respected. Number 14, lip plates. From one truly strange African tradition to another. If you've watched Black Panther, you might remember that one of the members of the council had a massive lip plate. But is it actually a real thing? Well, it absolutely is. Among certain groups on the African continent, lip plates are a significant tradition. Among the Mercy and Surma tribes, they symbolize beauty, fertility, and social status. In fact, it is said that if you meet someone with a truly massive lip plate, they are a high-ranking member of their tribe. If they were to marry someone from another tribe, they would almost be entitled to a greater dowry. This isn't just some random custom done on a whim. The practice actually starts at the age of 15, and over time the plates get larger as they reach adulthood. As you may have guessed, not everyone is on board with this tradition, and it's not hard to see why. Even the Ethiopian government has tried to put an end to it. However, the people of these tribes hold it as an honored tradition, and they refuse to let it go. Now let's head to England, where they have a food event that is both fun, brings in a lot of people, and can potentially kill you if you're not careful. The event allegedly dates back about 600 years. People stand at the top of a hill with a big cheese wheel, and then it gets shoved down the slope while participants chase after it. Because of the hill's steepness and the shape of the cheese, the wheel can pick up serious speed, meaning people have to run just as fast to catch up to it. So why is this event considered dangerous? Well, have you ever tried to run downhill without the fear of falling, slipping, or tripping at full speed? That's kind of dangerous. And when you have a bunch of people coming together to try and grab a single piece of cheese, things can go wrong quite quickly. Even the police have warned that the event is dangerous and should not be participated in, but it's also not in their power to stop it. Sounds like a cheesy excuse to me. Number 12. Mexican birthday traditions. A birthday is a special time of year when you get to celebrate with family and friends, doing little or big things to make the person feel special for the day. In Mexico, there are some unique traditions tied to birthdays. For example, there is La Mordida, when the birthday girl or boy's hands are tied behind their back and their faces shoved into the cake for them to take the first bite while people cheer them on. Interestingly, under different contexts, mordida can also mean bribe, so you definitely want to ensure that you're sending the right message. Another fun but strange tradition is that of the piñata. A child is given a bat and is told to mercilessly beat and destroy an animal made out of papier-mâché so that they can pull out its candy guts and devour them. Encouraging destruction and violence at a birthday party in the name of sweets? That's not weird at all. Number 11. The Battle of the Oranges. The Battle of the Oranges takes place in Italy, in the town of Ivrea. This battle is part of a massive festival meant to symbolize a rebellion that took place long ago. There are teams of people, both on the ground and on carts, and the goal is to try and hit as many opponents as possible with oranges. There are actually 9 teams participating in this event, and there are rules that go along with it, so it's not exactly a free-for-all like the tomato battle from Spain. Still, you have to admit it's a strange way to celebrate a rebellion, but hey, it's definitely something that gets people involved. Number 10. Garawal Festival. While many of these traditions are fascinating, only a few are truly intrinsic to the daily or yearly lives of the people. In Chad, the Garawal Festival is a must for certain men, as it plays a big role in finding a partner. So what exactly is this festival? It's actually a male beauty contest. The men chosen for the festival put on elaborate makeup and other adornments to try and woo potential partners. Sometimes they are looking for a relationship, while other times they are seeking a wife. Typically, men in various cultures compete in feats of strength to impress women, but here it's all about beauty, which makes it quite different from other traditions around the world. Number 9. Oaxaca Radish Festival. Now don't worry, this is not a festival about throwing radishes at each other. That would probably hurt, and I wouldn't support that kind of thing in the slightest. Instead, the Oaxaca Radish Festival in Mexico is all about turning radishes into beautiful works of art. This festival has been celebrated for over 125 years, and people take it very seriously. Ironically, it all began quite simply with street vendors during the Christmas holiday carving radishes to attract customers to their stands. Now it has evolved into a full-blown event featuring incredible radish sculptures. If you carve it, they will come. Number 8. Chinese foot binding. Given that China has existed for many dynasties, it's not exactly a shock to learn they have a variety of traditions. However, like in modern-day China, you can easily say that some of them are not exactly kosher. Case in point, Chinese foot binding was a practice that was apparently started because of a late empress who had worn a specific kind of shoe to have her foot resemble a moon. The practice would catch on for reasons of status and beauty, and various lotus shoes were worn by women in order to get that effect. Now, you may be waiting for the twist. By doing this method, the women were basically condemning themselves to lifelong pain and foot disability. Their feet were misshapen because of the shoes, and the act of wearing them daily meant that they were literally in pain every single day. Women continued to do it for centuries though, because they valued both the tradition and the status that it gave them. Hair is something that a lot of cultures treasure in special ways, especially during ceremonies where they dress themselves up. However, in Africa, the women of the Hemba tribe do something just a little bit different to make their hair stand out from the crowd. That's because their tradition is about applying a special kind of paste, specifically, a paste that is made out of butterfat and red ochre. The hair is treated with this paste every single day. When you see pictures and videos of the Hemba women, you can see why a lot of people may be confused as to why they do it. Some believe it serves a practical purpose, as the tribe is nomadic and it protects the hair from the hot sun. But if you ask the women, they say that they just like it and it makes their hair aesthetically pleasing in the end. Number 6. Toe rings. When you hear the phrase toe rings, you may think that it involves something in the way of getting your toes pierced. That could be defined as a weird tradition that some people would partake in for unknown reasons. But instead, I'm talking about the tradition of some cultures wearing a wedding ring or a band on their toes. One such country that does this is India, where in some wedding ceremonies the husband will actually put a wedding ring on 2 toes, one on each foot. There's also a legend in Indian culture about a woman who left her toe ring behind so her beloved could find her. Toe rings are worn by men in Tamil culture, usually in a more simple design and for comfort. It may seem like an odd thing to people, but in these cultures you have to remember that they often wear sandals or nothing at all. Number 5. Cinnamon hurling. Now if you thought the weirdness was going to stop, we're heading to Denmark, where a tradition states that if you reach 25 years old and you are still single, you have cinnamon thrown at you. Why? Because it's meant to symbolize how you are not married yet. But it does get a whole lot meaner. If you make it to 30 and are still single, they will douse you in pepper. How did this even come to be? Well, it's a tradition that dates back to a Danish salesman who traveled so much that he couldn't get a partner. So they were called the Pepper Man, or Pepper Woman in this case. The good news is that while the tradition still exists, it is now more of a prank than a judgment by the people. Sometimes it takes a while to find true love, and there's nothing wrong with that. Number 4. To be a man. There is one certain tribe that lives deep within the Amazon rainforest, and they perform a ritual where, when a boy is to become a man, he has to find a bunch of bullet ants. That alone is dangerous. And then, that boy has to wear gloves that are full of the ants for about 10 minutes and do a dance that ensures he will be bitten by the ants themselves. Now if you don't know, getting bitten by one bullet ant means pain that is equivalent to being shot with a bullet. That's how they got their name, the bullet ant. Now just imagine being stung by a whole lot of them, wearing gloves where you can't get any relief. The point is, to show that life without pain is not worth it. And you just wonder why people hate people sometimes. Believe it or not, this so-called sport began because of a gangster ordering his men to steal women from other villages. Today in Finland, it's a race that people honestly do with partners or other volunteers to see if they're man enough to do the full race without dropping their women. The length of the official track is 23.5 meters with a sand track surface, so it's not exactly the easiest of races to perform, especially when you have a woman on your back. There are rules about the woman's age and weight, making it more fair all around for the people who are competing. People really do get into this kind of thing, and it's even become a team competition. Number 2, frog dance. Now, we'll head to Sweden to get our groove on. Solstice festivals are a popular tradition in many cultures. In Sweden they do the frog dance around the maypole that they erect to help showcase just how happy they are for the changing of the seasons. So, why is it called the frog dance? Well, it's for 2 reasons really. First of all, they sing a song about frogs while they dance. Secondly, the dance is actually meant to be about the various parts of the body that frogs don't have, which kind of makes sense, I suppose. But seriously, they do get well into it, as you can see here, and they do it every solstice without fail. Number 1, Partita a Scacchi. Finally we go to Italy for Partita a Scacchi, which is a living chess game. You see, there was once a 15th century ruler who had to pick the suitors for his 2 daughters. When 2 prospective sons-in-law came about, he told them to go and play a chess game. The winner would get the older daughter, and the loser would get the younger one. The legend of the story captured the hearts and minds of the local people, and so they go and reenact the event by playing a chess game to symbolize what happened in that fateful challenge. Fast forward to these days and over 700 people, including real horses, participate in this living chess game. If nothing else, it is quite the sight to behold. Well, that's all from the various cultures of the world and the strange traditions and rituals that they are willing to do. Were you weirded out by the various things I showed you here today? Which one of them was the weirdest in your mind? Perhaps there are other cultures and rituals that could have made this list. Be sure to let me know all about it in the comment section down below. Check out the other cool things showing up on the screen, and I will see you next time.